So today we are unlocking the secrets of Goldman Sachs with our incredible panelists who not what is this laughing? It's chat GPT. It's chat GPT. Hello guys, so today we are unlocking the secrets of Goldman Sachs. So buckle up for a roller coaster ride with our panelists here. Myself Shubhajit Karmakar and the panelists will introduce themselves.
Hey, my name is Srikumar. I am an upcoming full-time engineer at Goldman Sachs. I have interned there as well. I'm a final year student in electronics and communication engineering.
Hey guys, I'm Samita, final year MEC, upcoming SD at Goldman Sachs, and I also interned there during the summer.
Hi guys, I'm Bhavesh Jaju. I'm currently in my final year in Triple E. I interned at Oracle and I also got PPOs, so I'll be working full time in Oracle.
Most of my preparation went during those 2 months before the interview, was summer vacations, right? So yeah, just DSA full day long.
And how long did you devote to DSA every day?
Okay, it might be a bit nerdy, but then starts at 9, 10 a.m. and goes till 6, 7 in the night.
And what about others?
So my preparation, like I had kind of dabbled in DSA a bit in second and third sem, but not like that seriously. But seriously, I also prepared in those 2 months of summer vacation. But the issue was I was also doing another internship in at a startup. Okay, it was an unpaid internship, but it was like a kind of web dev internship. So I had to divide time between those two. So it was not like I did some fixed amount of questions a day. It just like how much ever time I got based on that time.
So mine was mainly like 8 to 9 months before internship season. I started off with like theoretical DSA because I'm from Triple E and I did not even know anything in DSA. And after a while, it was mainly like doing CP in between. Like it was mainly in between like Jan to April. And after April, I completely finished interview grading like some of the like lead conversions here and there.
And you told CP like what kind of platform you preferred?
Code forces.
Say probably like starting of second year kind of situation because I met some sort of seniors and they were telling me how DSA is what you need to do. You need to first clear the rounds in order to sit for the interviews, right? And DSA is pretty important for that. So that's where I realized the importance of DSA and I started just working towards it.
Anush?
I mean, it was mainly like second year start when like for us like back in the day we had our club recruitment starting of second year. So that's when I realized I'm like if I'm studying for club recs, I might as well study for internship season as well. So
Around the same actually, like around mid third sem. I used to do problems on code forces like math based problems just for fun, not exactly DSA problems. And since I'm from MEC, I was not that decided on what career I should take. But around mid third sem, I realized I'm more interested in like software related stuff. So yeah, around then only I realized. DP and graphs.
Okay.
As in monitoring depends on the company.
yes, so it's from company to company what you are exactly want to like
Check
what
for the like top best companies.
DP comes. Jeez.
And then there are times when you have to optimize the solution. So look at maps. Simple.
In interviews or in practice?
In practice. On each question.
Yeah.
And if it's like not getting solved, then what was your approach to it?
I should go play games.
Not
I
like
mean, no, for me it is basically like if I'm paying attention for 30 minutes, I just go do something else. And back of my head, like trying to find the solution will always be there. So one of the things which I did during like preparation season was also that I at least like one or two questions before sleeping I used to sleep. And pretty much my brain used to function in night, like just trying to figure out the solution. So that also helped.
I think it's like if I don't get a question, I just go to the comment section, look at it, copy paste it, and then try to understand what the algorithm is.
like video solution you don't prefer.
No, I would rather read something and then try figuring it out.
Okay. Like a lot of people focus a lot on like if they're not getting, they will just watch the video, try to like
Yeah, I get that, but then I'm more of
reading person.
reading it.
And
Somewhat similar to what others did in the beginning. Like I would see one question, maybe like then for 2 3 days it will be at the back of my head. After that, also if I didn't get, I would check editorials. But even if I did get questions in that 2 months prep phase, I used to make it a point to check the editorials to see better approaches. So I guess lead code this sorry, not editorials, that what's that
Discussion
section?
tab. The
Discussions
discussion
tab. It's like it's a gold mine.
so like reading is much better than like watching video solution.
Depends on the person.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I remember DB and like stuff like DB graphs, trees. I used to watch travel mainly to get the solutions.
As in, government as a company doesn't go into asking CS topics, at least to the electronic circuit or kind of people. But then I did give something like a day before the interview, just refreshed through the DBMS topics.
No, like from starting, how did you start? Like, how much, like 1 month before or 2 months?
And it's more like I had CS minus and they had taught some sort of DBMS, some sort of topics. So I had those materials with me. I just refreshed those materials.
Somewhat like, I mean, even I was in CS minus, but it was like an online sim. I found that pretty useless.
Okay.
So Gate Smashes was a good source, I guess, and like GFG last minute notes, like just one day before the exam. Like they didn't ask during the interview, but in the OA they asked some DBMS questions. So
In OA.
yeah, so
Pretty much the same thing. There is CS minor, Gate Smasher, GFG, and like interview bit has like last minute questions. So before interview, if like I go through Gyan and see if the company is asking questions related to DBMS first, I just go through them.
I think it's just more like any other interview where you sit, they'll probably ask you some sort of DSA questions. And I think there's something specific to Goldman where they don't have some sort of round for the HR.
Oh, yeah.
They usually mix in some sort of HR questions at times. Sometimes they don't even bother doing that. Okay. So they have DSA questions, you try to do it, you try to impress them. You try to do it as quick as possible with the most optimized solution.
And how long are the interviews?
And then it varies from people. I know people where they had it from 30 minutes to 45 minutes, where some people had it just for 20 minutes. Right. And I'm talking about people who cracked the interviews. Not interview.
I think the same as what he said. I guess you have to be confident when speaking.
Like more than the content, like the confidence.
No, obviously content matters, but then like confidence is also like important. Some people, even if they're correct, they don't trust themselves and they don't voice their thoughts out. And
Yeah, so that's a really good point. Like you have to talk it out, like talk the solution through, but don't like speak something which is completely irrelevant to the question. Because in the interview, you think like this guy doesn't like he doesn't have a focus of thought. He's just going out everywhere. So that's one thing. And I mean, one thing which is like very important for Goldman Sachs interviews that they ask persons. So that's one topic which was very important.
Okay, so like from where should they practice puzzles?
GFG.
GFG.
mostly, I don't exactly remember now, but there was one LCA variant in one of my rounds. First round was like very simple questions, one BST question.
How many rounds were there?
For me, there were 3 rounds, but for some people, there were 4 rounds. So in my first round, they asked me I think two puzzles and one BST question, and I don't remember. I think the other one was some very simple. He was like, "What's your favorite topic?" I simply said DP, and he asked me some very
Knapsack.
yeah, something like that. And then, like, I don't know, that was my first round. Second round was that LCA variant and one more puzzle. And kind of, yeah, in all the rounds, they asked me to explain my projects as well.
In every round.
Yeah, third round was mainly project based, but first two rounds also there was some significant time for explaining my projects. Third round, yeah, projects plus I think a bit of DSA he asked me, not that much, not as much as the first two rounds. But yeah, they asked a mixture of all three projects, DSA and this thing puzzles.
And did they like ask like standard kind of questions or they varied every question? Like a lot of people practice from sheets and all, so they kind of mug up the questions and just go to the interview. So
I mean, the first round, I think they were kind of standard only. Second round, there was a small variation, that's it. So I guess even I followed the Striver's sheet kind of religiously. So I think, I mean, obviously you shouldn't mug up
Yeah.
from there. It's the thought process that matters. But that's like, yeah, if you understand and do that sheet religiously, it's enough, I guess.
and what kind of questions they asked you?
Okay, so the first round, I do remember them asking about quick sort. They were just asking, like, they were just starting off with simply about sorting algorithms.
They asked you.
So they just asked me some basic questions on sorting, what kind of sort would you use in what sort of situations. And then they had asked me about quick sort and they had asked me to implement it. But so this was an offline interview, right? Goldman was one of those few companies at that time. Yes. So they just asked me to write a pseudocode, explain them through the pseudocode. That was the first round. Second round, they had a mixture of projects, and it was more of graphs, like breadth first search, and then there was some questions based on maps. The later rounds were about trees, queues, and just higher level data structures.
Like on what kind of scale you mark their question, like easy, hard, medium?
As in, it's definitely not hard. The first few questions are on the easy side, but it's more of easy, medium, kind of. It's more of how fast you answer the questions. Like I'm pretty sure everyone over there was just getting the questions. Then when they understand, they know the answers, and they just tell out the answers. Like that's how everyone is. So it's more of confidence, speed, and accuracy.
And what kind of question they asked?
I had like around 4 rounds of interviews. So my first one was mainly projects based and then like resume based, and with like one DSA question. Which second round had two or one DSA with one puzzle,
And how long each round was?
around 30-40 minutes. My third round had around again one two DSA questions and a little bit of assignment 10 questions. And my fourth round had four DSA questions. And all were like very simple questions, very basic. I don't remember the questions like this.
And each one of you had 3 rounds.
No, I had four.
You
I
had,
had three.
so it varies according to people.
Some people had only two rounds and then they were just sent back, and in the end, they got the call later that you're selected also. So it's like very,
So like they should not lose their heart.
yeah.
As in, there were people waiting even though they had just one single.
I think it is mainly in the first round where my projects were mainly related to stock market and like cryptocurrency, and my interviewer had a very good knowledge on that on those topics. He also mentioned that like my projects were something what he's also doing in the company right now. So and then he graded me completely on it. I answered to like my fullest potentials, but I think he was still not convinced with it because the projects were not that good. And in the second round, I had puzzle again, in which I did not prepare from PhD back then. And then I struggled to solve the question, but I got it in the end. But I feel these two places were the areas where other people did better.
What was the like internship location for each one?
Both of us, it was Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay.
I am a native of Bangalore actually, so I stayed with my parents.
And I have my uncle just. I was lucky, my uncle was right beside me, so I just stayed with him. The first week they do give us some sort of hotel accommodation, so that you kind of get used to the traffic, obviously, and get some sort of apartment or something to do.
Every day was interesting. We used to meet for lunch every day and then like all NITK people and then gossip. And
How many people were there from NIT?
I think in overall 12 people were selected. In Bangalore, 9 people were there.
Oh, anything interesting that happened you'd like to share?
Interesting. I think there was one, like the CEO had come in.
Yeah.
We were like, we had that rare chance of like that is all these partners come in and they had some sort of meeting. This happens like yearly once or something, and we were lucky to have it in Bangalore and we were there.
We had to go to office at 6 a.m. or something that day. That was the only traffic-free day in Bangalore. Full 80 we went on highway and I live like 25 kilometers away from the office. So, I mean, that was the first time I reached office in like 40 minutes or something. It was, or 30 minutes. It was
No, or else it takes like 2 hours or something.
1.5 hours on an average.
So I think it kind of depends on the role exactly. Because I know people who had to talk to UK and US, like people working in UK and US. Mine were more of the technical side. So it was just more people within my team. Rarely I had to go to the like I had online meetings with the Hyderabad branch. It's more of my team. Right?
And what about
I had my team was kind of dispersed, and one I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. Yeah, so like I had meets every day because some members from my team were based in UK and some were based in US. And like three of us were in Bangalore, out of which one person sat on the ninth floor. So it's like every day, 6 p.m., we had this kind of scrum meet to discuss what all we did. I also used to tell my progress there. Majority of the time, it was just meets only. So, like my mentor also was in London, like after my manager left. So,
I guess yeah, that he can answer it exactly.
he will answer. I mean, yeah, it was.
Okay, so I think it's just as in you know how the placements or intern things go. As in you get you get an offer from a company, but you don't exactly get which role exactly. You might have some sort of title, but not exactly what you're doing in the company, right? So I've got something where I worked on the back end. I had to create some sort of APIs, fix some sort of issues that were going on, right? That was my kind of topic.
Similar only. Mine was like 90% backend and just displaying the results like 10% front end. So mine, our team worked on this distributed database. I had to kind of study the like store how the storage space varies and all that. So it was like yeah, mostly I had to write a couple many APIs and like just display the results on the front end.
like, how difficult were the projects? Were they on the simpler side or you had to go through a lot of things?
I mean, like I found my project to be not that like hard conceptually, but then like getting used to the tech stack and then like there's a lot of like they didn't work with this not like in college we work on like Django or like React Express and all. They had their own like I can't reveal the code base exactly, but then it took time to get adjusted and there were like a lot of like team specific issues which took a lot of time to handle. So
Then mine was much more on the simpler side. As in, so the thing was the project was simple. Right? There was some sort of designing phase and then I had to implement it out. The only problem was that getting used to it and the amount of work that was. Because my work my kind of meant mainly dealt with a lot of other teams as well, not only my team. So contacting them, getting all of them on board, and getting all my code up running with those teams also, giving the approval. I kind of took a lot of time, and there was a lot of head right. There's a lot of issues coming up with the tech stack. The tech stack is pretty weird. As in, there's Java, but not the normal Java. There's something called RX Java, right? It's a reactive-based Java that they use. Yeah, that getting used to that was actually pretty
So like, were the projects hectic according to you?
then it was very time consuming because so the thing is I go to the office around at 9 p.m. to 9:30. I start there and then I leave the office by 1 a.m. Right? I do have some 1 or 2 hours breaks of lunch and snacks. That was usually my schedule.
I used to stay there for 8 hours. Yeah, we were required to stay for 8 hours every day. In the beginning, I used to stay just for 8 or 9 hours. Towards the end, I think the last 2 weeks or something, I started staying for 10 hours and all also. Like just to get completed because sometimes the issues, as I mentioned, they're very team specific and it's like it depends on the other team members' availability also to like solve the issue. So it might not be that hard for them, but again, depending on their availability.
Uh, okay, so how to get PPO?
अंकल नमस्ते चलो काम की बात करते हैं
PPO.
The big question.
Finished. Actually, I feel this year it was a lot luck based because everyone I asked completed their projects properly. But some people who didn't get the PPO, it was just because not because of their performance. It was just because their division or their team wasn't performing well, and like they had a lot of budget cuts. But yeah, complete your project and have a good presentation and
Depends upon the team.
yeah, only this year like there was recession, right? That's why.
Yeah. But then see, usually what happens with PPO is the thing is, so Goldman has this culture of, so it's like at the end of the day, okay, after your internship is kind of done, the last week, they send out a form. You have to fill out some certain names here and there. Those people come up and start reviewing. They start writing the good points, the bad points, all those kinds of questions, everything. And then the team in general will judge you. Because at the end of the day, they're checking, are you a team person? Right? Because there are a lot of things, the thing is, the whole project, it's not like one certain person knows everything. It's kind of split among everybody, and you need to work with a lot of people. So you need to be a really good team player. So they check into those kinds of aspects. They check if you're curious enough to know everything. A lot of small hits bits over there. And then finally, you need to impress people in your final presentation. I think that's going to be done more or less. Okay, but then still, do not mess up that final presentation.
So in the end, I would like to have some tips for the people who like don't get in, and like how do you handle the rejection?
देखिए सर अभी हम कुछ नहीं बता सकते हैं आपको हम डिस्प्रेशन में अभी हैं अभी
कोची में है
डिस्प्रेशन में है सर अभी
अभी कुछ नहीं बताइएगा
नहीं कुछ नहीं बताएंगे अभी
डिस्प्रेशन में है
जी
I mean, there are a lot of companies which usually come for internship season. So, like, if one company goes, you shouldn't feel like heartbreak that you're not going to get an internship over it. It happened with me. Not getting like after 4 rounds in was like pretty devastating. But I had like Oracle interview the next day, and like after 1 hour of just sobbing over not getting into Goldman Sachs, all my friends were like, "Bro, chill, you have the interview tomorrow. Like, get back." And like, it makes sense. Like, from like morning 7 a.m. till evening 6 p.m. You're just sitting and giving interviews in main building, and you're like, you just don't get it. So like, it took me some time, but after dinner, you're like, leave that. It's fine. That company probably did not deserve you. Is why you're not getting it. And then like a lot of opportunities which is open up. So,
What methods you would like to
Get it.
any rejection?
As in, see, the thing is, yeah, as he said, like a lot of companies coming. I think in week one itself, every day there will probably be like one replacement of another interview of another company. There'll be tests of another company. That's like three different things.
But like now, it's not like that anymore. It seems so.
I guess it's just look where you kind of might have faltered. Try preparing that. And one thing you need to realize is that you reached all the way to the interview. So you are there at the top right now. And so the next person to get into is most probably.
So I'm from mechanical actually. So the first week I wasn't even eligible for like any company, I guess. The only company I think I was eligible for this was probably Uber. I think Uber and Capital One. So it's like I don't know, there was a heartbreak before the online test really happened. So I mean I was like at least give me a chance and then reject me. I know like I may not be that skilled. Reject me, it's fine, but at least give me a chance. But I don't know, like if you've worked hard enough, obviously this is a like NIRF rank 12 college, so there'll be like plenty of opportunities for like everyone from all branches. And yeah, people from non-circuital branches, it would be better if they take up minors, just so that companies open up. So I don't know. Definitely, like someday or the other, some good opportunity will come up. So don't get disheartened, I would say. Talk to friends, go eat something, and then, like listen to music. Talk to keep it in constant touch with your family. Like, I used to cry to my parents. Once I was crying on SD. One of my friends came and consoled me. Next day was GS test,
Oh,
and then I didn't expect to get in, but then like I consider her my good luck charm. So
oh, that friend.
yes.
तू बहुत सही दोस्त है मेरे भाई। अरे तेरे जैसे दोस्त हो ना तो दुश्मनों की जरूरत ही नहीं है, तू अकेला ही काफी है।
Okay. It's to calm yourself down.
I mean, having a good friend circle is probably like one of the best things you can have during internship season. And if you have already like studied for like past whatever how much of time you have prepared for, and if you feel like you have done a good amount of things, then you shouldn't feel like one company rejection should be like the end point. So that thought process will help you be like, it's fine, this company is gone. Let's just focus on the next one because
So yeah, talk to people, drink water.
Drink water.
water.
Water and sleep. I don't. I mean, I used to cry to my family only. Like,
But they'll be like, what are you doing? Not even getting an internship.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I used to just like cry. This company is not opening for me. What do I do? My dad was like, "That's why I told you to take a drop." But this is why you should have studied during a JEE times and not in a circuit. So I don't know how to answer that question. My mom was very supportive. She was just like, pray to God.
Okay. They're very religious, but
Yes.
okay.
I think I did the same. I just didn't tell my parents or something.
You didn't tell.
I just kept going till I got an internship. Then I called my mom. I told her, I don't know which company it was.
But how can you not tell? Like they'll know, right?
Don't tell them the internship thing or the places.
Okay. Others.
I mean, my parents used to mainly like just worry about me that like this internship season should not spoil my health. And she would just call me and be like, "Are you okay? It's fine if you're not getting anything, chill." And I'm like, "It's fine. I'm fine. You don't need to worry." I'm not. That's it. And I just used to keep them updated, and they're like, "Okay, fine, okay, fine."
Okay, they're very caring.
Yeah,
Not
Everyone is caring.
like no pressure.
yeah, I know.
No, definitely not. I know some people who didn't get an intern and they got like week one placements.
Okay.
So,
Like go on preparing DSL.
Yeah, I mean, you can even start applying off campus. Like,
Yeah. Off campus is a really good thing. Another thing is even if you don't get internships, placements like internships is a bonus point. Right? So if you were to prepare enough, probably do projects. Because the thing is, you need to look at this thing that if you're doing 2 months of internships and then you're going to go for placements back then. So you guys they haven't touched PSA exactly.
Yeah.
Like they're busy with the interns. While you guys now will have this edge over them. Right? And if you were to now then focus all out, because you know now placements is and it's all or nothing. So you're going to get into the places.
So in the end, in order to not suffer from that feeling of not getting an internship, like what tips will you finally give to like get an internship?
Pray to God. Okay, I'm just kidding. But luck does matter a lot.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
say. Luck
In internships,
matters too much.
yeah.
Just keep grinding and you'll get there someday.
I mean, just keep your health okay throughout the season because it shouldn't be like 2 weeks down the line you're stressing out about the first 2 weeks company. It's fine, you'll not get it. But you suddenly fall sick and then you miss the next 2 weeks company in which you had more chances than other people. So health is another important factor. Which I mean, once you have done preparation, I recommend that you guys just finish preparation before the internship season so you guys can not take stress about all this.
Okay, so that was it from the interview talk. Thank you guys for joining us. For more such content, follow us on social media.